sit down.
What is going on, Dad? And welcome to episode 34 of the Dad's After Dark Show, recorded on Sunday, February 21st, 2021. We're your hosts, Drew and John, and thank you for joining us tonight for some Nintendo and four. That's right, John. Mario Golf Super Rush.
How excited are you?
I gotta be honest, I kind of hate the name, but I'm so into the game.
Super Rush. I like how when they announced it, everyone was like, Drew, in the Discord.
I mean, I hate to say I told you so, because just like Justin, if you predict things enough times, eventually it will come true. And I'm okay with that. I am okay with that. But what have you been up to, buddy? How you doing? I still have like 15 inches of snow, outside.
Wow.
It doesn't go away. It just keeps coming. That's what she said. And I'm tired of it. I want the summer.
Yeah, well, let's not get crazy. My brother, he's a plow guy. I mean, he's like a parks type person, but when it snows, he has to go plow. And he missed part of the Super Bowl because of it. But it keeps snowing. He texts me and says, we're
every week
6 more inches tomorrow.
Yep.
And he's just constantly going out there. And he's one of those guys that likes the overtime pay.
Yeah.
But now he's over it. He's done.
So is he like a state employee, or is it just like a small business?
Like a city employee. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
gotcha.
No, he goes around and takes care of
main roads, and he's not just doing people's driveways.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been nonstop. It's been cold. It's really cold today, but I think we got some 40-degree weather coming up, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, here we got 50 today. I mean, it's pretty nice in Denver. A lot of people think Denver is just full of snow, and it's not.
That's what I would think.
We get really nice weather.
Really? What's your typical temperature right now?
Right now, I mean, we've had 30 degrees, but we get 50. I mean, we have not gotten much snow either. We got a little bit of snow the other day.
Is your altitude way up there? If I came to visit you, would it be hard for me and difficult for me to breathe normally?
Yeah. It's hard to tell. I mean, it's normal for me, but yeah, when people come here, they're kind of told to, for a couple days, take it easy, don't do a lot of strenuous exercise, drink a lot of water, that sort of thing. So there's a regimen. I mean, you're gonna probably be fine, but don't go running. So quick story, when I was in high school, we visited Denver. My brother took me to Denver because the Denver Broncos were playing the New York Giants. And he's a big Giants fan, and I was a big Broncos fan. And so as a high school graduation gift, we went out here to go watch the game. And it was our first time out here, and we were in this hotel. And my brother he's still kind of a fitness nut. He's in really good shape. And so he goes on the rooftop of this hotel, and I'll never forget it, because when I worked downtown, I still see that hotel. There was a running track. So he did laps up there the first morning after we had gotten here. Oh my God. He was so ill. He did 3 laps and he couldn't breathe.
Oh my God.
So yeah, it takes some getting used to.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Interesting. Well, yeah, sounds like life's been busy for the both of us. I know I've been super busy. I know you have been, but what else? Let's the video game world. What's been going on in some video game? You since the last time we podcasted, John, I believe you got a new Switch.
Did. I am smitten. And Drew, I know you won't relate to any of this. Remember when we used to talk about you always say that you never get drift. And one of the things I used to complain about, I think I have owned 5 Switches. Primary Switches.
That's crazy.
I'll buy one, and then I remember I got the Diablo Switch, and then I sold
for a month.
Yeah, and then I sold my old Switch. I always sell my old Switch. The last Switch I got was right before Animal Crossing came out, and it was when you could not find a Switch because COVID had just come about. So you could not find a Switch anywhere, and I got a plain vanilla Switch. It was the gray one.
Mm-hmm.
And man, the from day one, those Joy-Cons wiggled. And one of the nicest things about getting new Joy-Cons is how solid they are. And it just wiggled. But all of my Joy-Cons wiggled on it. And so when the red and blue Switch got announced, I was like, I'm buying it. And I was so nervous because I was like, I hope these don't wiggle. It's just a problem I don't like feeling when I play handheld. And oh my God, the Joy-Cons are so firm and succulent, Drew.
Excuse me?
I know. It's an After Dark show. I can talk about it in this way. They're first of all, I want to say the red. I was worried about the red. I thought it looked a little ugly in the screenshots, but I was willing to try it. It looks so good because it's not just red. Like a lot of like the headphone jack and the stuff on the top and the buttons are all black. So it has this real red black vibe.
Yeah.
It's really, I love the new Switch. I love it. And it's firm and the Joy-Cons are nice and solid. It's going to sound funny. It actually makes me love the Switch more again because I realize how much I disliked my previous Switch.
Yep, it's like your previous lover got implants and you're all back in.
Yes,
pretty much.
That's exactly what it is. Yes,
it's that. Yeah, they need an upgrade. That's the
you have to love your console. If your Switch dropped on the ground and it made like a big crack across the screen, would you love your Switch as much?
Yeah.
Really?
I'm in it for life.
All right.
Yeah.
Would you buy a new Switch in that? Like, would you be like, oh, I need a new Switch. I can't play with a big crack across the screen.
Probably.
I
mean, that's
you just throw it away.
Yeah.
Right.
That's it. Throw it away. It's like when my lawnmower runs out of gas. You just throw it away.
Find someone younger.
Find somebody newer. Yeah.
Drew, are you working on Monthly Mayhem this week?
Monthly Mayhem. We'll talk about it in a little bit, but
no, I want to talk about it now.
I'm about done with Monthly Mayhem.
Are you really?
Yeah. It's funny because hell, let's just talk about it a little bit now. Obviously, we've both been playing Super Mario 3D, right? It's funny. Every single level in that game, we've unlocked every level now. We did what we had to do. Is my wife and I have been playing. That's it. I've never played one level without my wife. Isn't that? It's just been a fun game. We've been playing it together.
So
now I've gone back and gotten some stars by myself, but every level we've played, we've made it to the last 3 levels that we have unlocked. We did we beat one of them, and then you have the other 2. The one.
Oh wait, you did that. I assume you did the Captain Toad level.
Yeah. So spoiler alert, not really. There's 3 levels at the end of the game you have to unlock. There's a Captain Toad one. There's this Rainbow Roam, which is a long level, and then there's another level that is like the 10-second random rooms. You have to get 30 stars.
Yeah.
And let me say, so that's the one we've been playing. It is stressful as hell.
Yes.
It's so we've gotten 25. We've played a bunch of times. We're slowly progressing through it, but we haven't beat it yet. We've gotten to the 25 stars in it.
Which one is that? Do you know? Like which one you died at?
Trying to remember. We've made it past the one where you have to run like zigzag on a little small narrow ledge.
No, just jump. Go straight across and jump.
Well, you can jump. I've done that one. Yeah. I've also beat the one which at the first time I didn't know what to do. We have to pick up the PD Piranha plant and eat the fuzzies.
Yes,
that's a cool one.
So the problem with that level, and I told you earlier, having a list of all 30 levels in front of you is a great way to get your mind ready. Because once you're familiar with all the levels and you know what to do, sometimes it starts and you're just like, your brain just isn't ready and you react weirdly. So having that list in front of you is actually handy, especially towards the end. But that Piranha Plant level, I hate it because you have to. So there's 2 Piranha Plants and there's 10 fuzzies going around the room. Yeah. You have to pick up. Your first instinct is to go kill the Piranha Plants because that's what you've been doing the entire time.
Yes. And then I said, how do you kill the fuzzies?
You have to pick up the Piranha Plant and it has to eat the fuzzies. But like it doesn't always eat all the fuzzies. Sometimes I don't know if it gets confused or full and it stops. You can also eat the other Piranha Plant. Ooh. So that gets annoying. But then once you eat all the fuzzies, then you have to kill the Piranha Plants. Yes. And the thing that drives me crazy about that level is a lot of times I'm in a cat suit and I go to the Piranha Plant and I go to press Y to pick it up and I kill the Piranha Plant.
You gotta hold Y from the beginning and then just run over to it.
Yes, it's late in the rotation too.
Oh,
I
it's
wish I
probably
could
around
practice.
like 22, 23, yeah.
Yeah,
Out of 30.
so
Now that's a level that's a lot easier with two people. You
yes,
just picked up a plant and you beat it in no time.
yep.
So there's another one too where you get the cat suit early on and it has the two walls. You have to go over one to hit the little POW block, not the POW block, the P block.
Yeah.
And then you have to jump how do you do that with one person?
So when I do this, I always grab 2 cat suits before I go in.
Correct.
So I have a cat suit. By the time that level comes up, it's fairly early. I have the cat suit already, and I just climb up the wall. In fact, I would say that for anybody, go to level 1-1, get a couple cat suits before you even start this level.
Oh, so you're saying you don't waste 2 seconds on hitting the block and getting the cat suit, or else you would never make it.
Oh, exactly. I immediately climb over the wall, touch the button, and if you have 2 players, the other person can go up the other wall.
That's what I'm saying. I have time to hit the. Now, did you know there's a couple levels with glowing dots that if you ground pound, you get extra cat suits as well?
You know what? I have seen the glowing dots. I usually am fine. I usually don't take hits. It's usually I run out of time.
Same.
And I know how to get past
fall.
every level. Yeah. You start off with 2 cat suits. You get the fire. You have to get the fire flower on that one level.
Yeah.
And then when you do the one with the 2 walls, after I get the star, I usually go back and get the second cat suit because you don't need the fire anymore.
Right.
And nothing's really hard after that, but there's no room for error.
0.
So, and if you make one mistake.
There's once when you get it with 0 seconds left, or when you beat the level but you didn't get to the star on time. That's the worst.
Yeah, the one in the ice skate always stresses me out because I don't like the control of the ice skate.
Have you ever missed the ice skate but still beat the level? That's happened to me a few times.
Oh no! Like, what you mean? Like,
I jumped over it. I gotta keep going.
Yeah. No, it's hard to control. But I started doing it yesterday morning. I had these last 2 levels, and I said, okay, the Champions Road's going to be easy because I've done these before. Champions Road will be easy. It's 1 level. The 30 stars was going to be the harder one, and then I ended up beating the 30 star one on like my 3rd or 4th try. And then Champions Road was just a pain. I forgot how hard
that is. It just long?
It is long and hard, with a bit of a curve in the middle. What makes it hard is that you will take hits. Like, you can get through the 30 stars without even taking a hit. But you will take hits in Champions Road. And I cannot beat it by going in like straight. Like, so here's my strategy. There's this for you and everybody. Go to level 3-1 and get yourself a couple of Tanuki suits. Then go to Champions Road and then save. You can if you hit select, you can specifically save where you're at.
Okay.
So save. Then do your Champions Road. If you lose a Tanuki suit or something, you can reload and have your Tanuki suits back. So it's pretty, and to reload, they just make you select your character and go back in again. I would say just doing that. Having the Tanuki suit will get you through the first several sections so much easier and with so much less stress. So it feels like cheating, but it's just you're going in with an item. It's perfectly allowable.
Now, the other way that is not cheating but helps out is Sean, you and I had the opportunity to play for a good hour and a half the other night.
Yeah.
My kids went to bed. We joined Discord. I actually put my phone on speakerphone in the middle of the room, and my wife and I played. So it was the 3 of us. So me, my wife, and John, we played a bunch of fun levels, and online play was great. Almost 0 lag, I would say.
I think it was probably a little better for you because you were hosting, but it wasn't that bad. I mean,
no,
it
really wasn't.
Yeah.
But it was fun because if someone dies, you can kind of just keep the other guy, can keep them alive. We had an absolute blast, laughing and stuff. I meant to tell you, once we got off the call, I mentioned Monthly Mayhem a few times, and my wife she looks at me, she goes, "You know what's Monthly Mayhem, right?" I said, No, it's Mayhem. It's I said, you wouldn't understand. It's Mayhem. Let's just believe me.
Yeah, I heard Amy say Mayhem, and I was like, I thought it was a Rhode Island thing. I guess it's just the Drew thing. No, that
Yeah,
was
the
fun,
online
and
play was
it was
fun.
really nice that you and I were around the same area.
Yep.
We had you host, and you were just like a couple levels behind me, and it reminded me of Diablo. Remember, we used to play Diablo, and you could play with people who were really good, and they could level you up so fast just by you sitting around doing nothing,
Yep.
which I didn't like about it. But in this one, it's the same way. I knew where all the green stars were because I had literally just played those levels 30 minutes earlier.
Oh
And it
yeah,
was
yeah.
really tricky because I didn't know if I should tell you or not.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
Like,
absolutely.
yeah, should I tell you? But there was one time when you were going the wrong way and Amy was going that way, and I kept grabbing you
That
to
was
like
before
say,
we were on
"Don't go."
Discord.
Yeah. That was before we were talking.
Uh, that
So
was fun.
it's like it's one of those things where somebody's going to be ahead of the other, so you got to make a rule. Like, do you follow? Do you help? It's tough.
Yeah, it is
Um,
fun. So since we're on the topic, I think I want to talk a little bit about Bowser's Fury. Um, I gotta be honest, John. I don't love it.
how can you not? It's so good.
So here's the thing. It
Okay, wait, how many
looks
cat shines in are you?
not many, 20.
Okay. All right.
You know, it looks fantastic. One of the best looking Mario games I've ever played.
Mm-hmm.
Not debating that.
Mm-hmm.
I think I hate the idea of an open world Mario. I don't like it.
It's not really open world. I know what you mean, but I
Yes
mean,
and
you
no.
go to an island, there's a challenge. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not in love with it.
Yeah, it's
Here's
okay
my
to be
thing.
wrong.
Here's my here's the problem. Is if I had the option every time I just loaded up 3D World. And I never want, you know what I'm saying? I kept going to 3D World rather than going to Bowser's Fury.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
I
don't.
played Bowser's Fury first and loved it before I even touched 3D World.
Mm.
I guess I played a couple levels with my son, but that was it. I don't know. I loved it. I went all the way through to 100. I was obsessed with it. So most of the challenges are, I guess it's a little bit different because it feels more like a Mario 64 Sunshine type game where they give you a little like, here's the star you got to get, and it gives you a little hint as to what you need to do. I don't know. I love that style of play.
I'm
I
gonna
found
give
it
it
really
some.
fun.
I'm definitely gonna keep playing it. I'm gonna beat it. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, maybe I think you'll change your tune. I think once you kind of get zoned in. I remember the first like portion of the game significantly. I didn't understand the rules. When you pick up a cat shine, the lighthouse rings out and it chases Bowser away. And I'm
Yeah,
a
that's kind of
software
weird.
developer, and so I'm looking for logic, and I'm like, wait a minute. So I could just sit here and wait for Bowser. Like I can sit right next to a cat shine, wait for Bowser, pick it up, then he goes away, and then continue on my way. Like, why wouldn't I do that?
Mm,
And of course, it's like because I don't want to sit here and wait for Bowser. But it just
yeah,
felt sort of random. Like I feel like when you get a cat shine, it should start a timer. I don't know. It felt
I agree.
a little weird. But by the end of the game, I was like, look, no matter how you play strategically, there's going to be times when Bowser's out, and there's times when he's not, and just enjoy getting the cat shines and have fun. I loved it. It's my game of the year so far.
Yeah, I mean it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm not debating it with that. I do agree it's awesome. But
Yeah.
all right, let's talk about what else we've been playing before we move on to our top 10.
Do it. All right, Drew, we already talked about Mario for a game we've both been playing.
Mhm.
Let's talk about what we've been playing by ourselves. Do you want to kick it off?
No, you've been playing a lot more than I have.
Okay. So I've played a lot. It's been how long has it been since we did a show? It feels like forever.
It has.
So 1, 2, 3 weeks. Yeah, 3 weeks. So I've played a lot of games, but none of them are ones that I want to get too deep into. I think the biggest game that I played was The Medium. I finished that up. This was like the first big exclusive to come to the Series X. The Series X launched with nothing exclusive of any note, so it took quite a while for the Medium to finally come out. So I definitely was going to play it. I've been pretty hyped about it. And I have to say, after playing through it, I didn't love it as much as I thought I would. There were times in the game where I thought this is like really stupid. So the big gimmick, if you remember, is that There are times in the game where it goes into split screen, almost as if you were playing with another player, except it's showing the same scene, one in the real world and then one in this like, medium world. Yep. Right. So it's a little mystical. There's like some demonic stuff sometimes, whatever. And it's a cool concept. And so you'll see someone interacting with something in one world and they're making the same motions in the other world and there's nothing there. And it doesn't get dry because sometimes the camera is in the same place. So you're seeing two different things. And it's hard to describe how kind of mind-boggling it is, but it's really a cool effect. But then there's other times where the camera is in a different position on both screens. And they like towards the end of the game, they even take even more like creative, they make creative decisions to like merge images together and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So in the end, it wasn't the kind of game I wanted it to be. It wasn't like I'm going to shoot. You don't like do any sort of melee attacks or any kind of like attack really. Most of the time, if you're fighting an enemy, which is few and far between, it's more like running away from it. But there's like some mystery detective work in there. It isn't great. It's one of those games where when you see like a locked safe or something you need to open, the solution is like probably in the same room. Okay. You know what I mean? Like it's not like something far away or something optional. It's kind of always something you need to do, and so it's really close by. It just wasn't the most engaging gameplay. It had a few that's really cool moments, but I felt like for this kind of hype that it got, I felt like it could have done a lot more. So overall it's like, okay, I enjoyed it. I'm not going to tell like people you have to play this game, but if you have a Series S or X, you do, and it's on Game Pass. It's free. You owe it to yourself to play, just to say you've played a console exclusive game.
Hey, whatever helps you sleep at night, John.
I know. If it makes you feel better, I haven't played my Xbox in like a week. So
it doesn't make me feel better.
It's collecting dust.
It would make me feel better if you got rid of it.
That'll change shortly. Another game I played, and this is Life is Strange Before the Storm. Obviously, you haven't been on Twitter, but Life is Strange has become an obsession, and I'm really close to saying Life is Strange might be my favorite game of all time.
You say that every week with a new game.
You know what it is? I listen to the soundtrack. It's never been a game where I listen to soundtracks or
it looks like nothing happens. I don't understand.
I follow several Life is Strange Twitter accounts. I'm just tuned in every day to a game that has no new news right now. So Life is Strange Before the Storm is the prequel to Life is Strange. It's actually done by a different developer. And the cool part is this developer, Deck 9 Games, is like 30 minutes north of me. It's a Colorado-based developer.
What type of game is this? Is this like a story?
So yeah, Life is Strange is it's a story game where you make decisions and it impacts the story.
Do you move your character around?
Yeah, you move your character around. It's not like just dialogue.
Do you go up, down, left, and right?
You do all of those in diagonal too.
Oh wow.
Now the interesting thing is that Life is Strange, the main play mechanic is you can rewind time. So you could be talking to someone. I can say, Drew, like in the game, what do you have in your pockets? And then you show me. And then I can rewind time and then say, Drew, I can tell you what you have in your pockets. And you have no idea that you've already shown me because I've rewound time. And they don't really explain the play mechanic in Life is Strange of why that is. It's like this gift that she gets in the beginning of the game. But I like to think of it as, the theory where every decision you make splits the universe and there's these timelines that are all going on. Like, I feel like you're just moving between the timelines of decisions. But anyway, Before the Storm is the prequel to that story, and it does not have the time mechanic. So if you played this game on your own, it really is like making decisions. And I don't think there's any decisions that are really significant. So from that way, I gave it a rating of 8 out of 10.
So there's no fighting, there's no platforming. It's legit. You just walk around and talk to people and choose your own destiny.
Drew Andrew James DeFusco.
Nope. Nope.
Don't. Andrew Reginald DeFusco.
Yep, that's the one.
Don't you marginalize Life is Strange. It is amazing.
It sounds pretty boring.
It's amazing. When it comes out on Switch, I'm forcing you to play it.
Just like Wild Hearts. Speaking of.
This game doesn't have that same gameplay as Life is Strange. But if you've played Life is Strange, this game's like a 12 out of 10. It's amazing. And it has the most heart-wrenching scene in a video game I've ever played in the DLC.
That was the one with the guy wanting to go to the moon, the old guy.
Oh, no, that game? No. This one, I can't even explain it to you, but it is the most gut-wrenching. I cried for minutes.
I can tell you now, there's probably a negative 8% chance I will ever play this game.
If it comes out on Switch, I'm forcing you to play it. You know how I'm going to force you? Do you know how I'm going to force you?
John, you can buy this game and gift it to me, and it will sit on my Switch.
I'm not fucking gifting it to you, Drew. I'm gifting it to Amy. That's what I'm going to do. And then she's going to steal your fucking Switch.
Delete everything else.
Yes, exactly. And she's going to play that game, and she's going to be sobbing, and she's going to say, you need to play this game, and then you'll play it for her. See how that works?
Maybe we can play it together, naked on the couch.
Go for it.
Whatever floats the boat.
So if you played Life is Strange, you have to play Before the Storm. It's like a 12 out of 10.
Sure.
I did play Return of the Obra Dinn. I waited 2 years to play this on Switch. I hated it and deleted my save data, so that's all I have to say about that.
Moving on.
Stardew Valley, I finished off. Thank God.
I don't think you could beat that game.
There's like your grandfather comes back in soul form. That's all it is. So you played through 2 years.
Wait, that other game is that weird pirate 3D like wireframe looking game?
Yes, Return of the Obra Dinn.
Okay, that's all we needed to know.
I just didn't like
Stardew Valley.
I fell asleep so many times playing that game.
Really?
I just didn't have patience for it right now. I might give it a try. I don't even want to talk about it, honestly. It just made me fall asleep. I was disappointed.
Okay, moving on.
Stardew Valley finished. And then Sayonara Wild Hearts, which I have been playing again. Also possibly the best game ever made that you will not play.
Besides Life is Strange, apparently.
Yeah, played that one. I just love. This is another game I listen to the soundtrack.
Like weird games.
I like creative, unique, new game styles. They're good.
Well,
you would love Sayonara.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. That's the thing. I wouldn't love it.
You'd love it. You'd love it.
No.
I think this is the one game that I would tell everybody to play.
The only thing that maybe you got me suckered into is that it's a very short game.
It's a short game, but if you play it for an hour and a half, that's a crime. You should keep going. Try to get gold medals and everything. Would you stop selecting the spreadsheet? It's so distracting. Do you do this on Disney, guys? My God. It's like your leg twitch.
Wasn't my leg.
So I've played a lot of games, but I've mostly just been playing Mario. I'm so addicted to it.
Same.
Yeah. So how about you?
Yeah, well, prior to Mario coming out and post Road Legacy, I needed a game to find, and I searched and I searched, and I didn't want to. I didn't buy one. So what I did was, John, I went through my back catalog and started looking at games there, and I came across Yoshi's Crafted World, which I played a long time ago, but I played like 2 worlds. I don't even think I got the first gem. Like, I barely scratched the surface of the game, and I just said it wasn't for me. And I think what happened was another game was coming out that I jumped on. So I pulled this up. I said, let's give it a go. Again, this was another game my wife and I played together. We did co-op. And we tackled this game, and I need to get back to it. I think we got I'm almost on the last level, and then Mario came out. So I want to go back now and beat it. So I think after Mario, I'll go back and beat it. I think I have 5, or if not the 6th gem. I'm very, very close to the end. And then I know there's a lot of post-game stuff as well. I'm interested. But this game looks gorgeous. It does look fantastic. It's fun. I mean, it's a Yoshi game, right? It is what it is, but I enjoyed it. It was cool to see the different level designs. I guess you could say.
I love the formula. So I have a question for you.
Hmm.
Some people don't like this game. You hear it all the time. People are like, they're disappointed, whatever. I loved it, and I played the post game and everything. I loved it. So what is your opinion on it? And what do you think? Like, people who don't like it, like, what do you think? I mean,
Honestly, I think because this is what I mean. I didn't like it, right? And then I would come back and I think it's a fun, great game.
Yeah.
I think it's Yoshi games in general are very unique, right? Um, but I love the art style. I love the concept of being able to throw it, away from the camera and into the camera. Um, I love how it has the collectibles if you want to collect them, and if you don't want to, you don't have to. I love the random levels where they kind of change it up and take the mechanics out of it, whether, you're a giant Yoshi or some other weird thing. I think the boss battles are very forgiving and fun. Like I said, it's colorful and gorgeous to look at. I think the level designs are a lot of fun, and it has I guess you could almost say the Mario lore, right? Which is really cool with like some of the Boo levels and things like that are interactive. So I think that's what kept me coming back a little bit. The costumes and the stupid little gumball machines. I'm like, oh my god, I need that costume, and you just want to spend, and go back in the levels and find more of the tokens so you can use them. Yeah, it was better than I remembered, and I think it was a great game. I do agree. I think there was a lot of love put into it.
I remember the visuals on Yoshi's Woolly World were so cool, and even though I love the crafted stuff, I think I like the Woolly a little bit better.
Yeah, I did play Woolly World. I did beat that one. That one was oh wait. Yeah, that's the yarn
one on the Wii U.
Might have been Kirby. Oh, it was the same thing.
Well, Kirby had Epic Yarn. Yoshi had Woolly World. Yoshi's Woolly World.
Maybe I don't know if I played that one. Is it the same idea as Crafted World?
If you remember it, like if you enter an amiibo and get all these like customized Yoshis that had different designs on them. Otherwise, it's the same kind of game. It just had a yarn look, a woolly look.
I don't think I played it.
It's really good, but they're both pretty good. I mean, like I liked Crafted World. It's just weird. I hear some people say they don't like it. And I don't know. I was curious if
I did not play Woolly World.
Oh,
I'm looking at it now.
That's a game that could definitely see a port to the Switch because it is really good.
I think it depends how Crafted did, but I agree. If Crafted does well, why not port this one over?
I mean,
this came out on 3DS as well.
Much later, yeah. In fact, I think it came out on 3DS while the Switch was out, if I remember right. So, and I think it had some extra stuff, but I had gone through the whole game and I didn't want to play it again. But if I play the game again, I might do it on the. No, you know what? The 3DS resolution sucks. I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, no, don't do that to yourself.
All right.
So
what do you say we go to the top 10?
Let's do it.
Number 10.
John, it happened. We had a Nintendo Direct for the first time since what? That was it 2019, right?
I think it was 15 months ago.
That is amazing.
Do you want to hear how crazy it is? Do you know what they announced at that Direct 15 months ago? They announced Tokyo Mirage Sessions.
Oh my god.
Which I was able to purchase on my GCU, which I haven't had forever, and came out January 2020. And we didn't get a Direct till February 2021. Wow.
Crazy. And it was for me an epic Direct. I think it had tons of stuff that I personally liked. I think it had tons of first party stuff. I think it had some really big third party games that are across multi-platforms, and I think it had a little bit of everything for everyone. So you see a lot of hate and love on the internet. That's what the internet does. That's what it's known for. That's what it does best. But overall, I don't care what anyone says. I think this was a well-rounded 50 minutes of gloriness, goodness, and yeah, it was awesome stuff.
Yeah.
So Pyra and Mithra, both looking good. However, John, they were covered up a little bit from what I remember.
I noticed it with Mithra, and then I found out afterwards Pyra actually got some garter belts. So I was like, so if you look at the picture of Pyra in Smash, I think she looks hotter. So I'm not sure what they did there.
Mithra not so much. Now this was funny because obviously they teased you right with some of the footage from Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and whatnot, which me and you both played. We both really enjoyed. 100 hours into it. Now let me ask you a question here. I know me and you are whatever with Smash. I respect Smash as a game for Nintendo. I truly do. I played it. I beat the story mode. It's a fun game. It's not really a game I ever need to go back to. That's just the way it is. However, with Pyra and Mithra being added, would you rather have seen some type of DLC or some type of expansion for Xenoblade Chronicles 2, or no? You're kind of glad it went to the Smash.
And in fact, I was going to say, I don't think it fooled any Xenoblade Chronicle fans because you could tell the footage was just repurposed old footage.
Yes, that's exactly how I felt. If you played that game, I 100% agree with you. You knew. Yep.
If it was like so DLC, weird. You'd see like new scenes and stuff. You wouldn't see the same stuff. So it kind of gave it away, but that's fine. I was excited that Pyra was coming to Smash, and it sounds like they're two different characters, not like they switch.
Oh, really?
So, we're going to find out more information soon, but I don't think they just switch mid-fight. They literally have their own ID numbers in the Smash world. So there's going to be two amiibo. We're going to get a Pyra and a Mithra amiibo, which has me stoked.
I might have to get back to the last amiibo I bought was probably the Diablo Goblin guy.
Oh my God, yeah. I'm super excited. I almost want to replay Xenoblade 2 again if I ever get a dead period, which will never happen, but. And the great thing about this direct is I remember the first three things were like all hits. I was like, wow, what did we start off with? Pyra and Mithra. We got Outer Wilds, and then we got Fall Guys. I am super excited about that.
I'm super excited. This is something that obviously came out not a long time ago, earlier, a few months ago. And it's like, man, that looks fun. I want to play that. And it was a hit sensation. Now, John, in like 20 seconds, explain to the world what Fall Guys is if people don't know.
You play a funny looking dude and you're on like a game show essentially. You start off with like 100 guys and you have to you go through this little obstacle course and then they pick like the top 80 people and they advance and the bottom bunch, they go out. And it's just an elimination tournament. It's about 4 or 5 rounds. And then there's a final round where the winner takes all and you win a crown. And basically you can use the crown and that currency of playing to upgrade your outfits and get different things, and that's it. It's silly. It's not the best game in the world.
No.
But every time it's one of those games where every time you start, you're like, I'm gonna win. And they always make the first round really easy. Like almost everybody advances and you have this sense of accomplishment. Yep. And I got a little bored of it on PlayStation. But now just knowing that I can just sit upstairs while I watch a movie and play Fall Guys, I'm way more interested in it from a portable point of view. So I'm super
short levels,
excited.
Right? It's almost, I look at it as like a Mario Party mini game. It's kind of like Among Us, how that was a big hit sensation, like shorter games, right?
Yeah, this is way more fun than Among Us. And I mean, this is a game that I would recommend everyone to buy. Just have it on your Switch. When you have company come over, everyone loves this game. Everyone falls in love when they first play it. You can put it on your Switch. If you have a spouse with a Switch, you guys can play together. I'm hoping you can. I don't even know if you can friend up with other friends, because I think having the dad's Discord and all of us getting into the same competition would be fun. Would be amazing. It probably doesn't work because if you lose, you're not going to sit there and watch the rest of it. But it's a definite game to buy. And at some point, they're going to go like with a season pass thing and ruin everything. So get it before it happens, and definite.
Exactly. So we're not going to talk about everyone. We're going to talk about some of our favorites. Of course, they show some Monster Hunter footage, No More Heroes footage. But John, Miitopia come to the Switch in May. This was kind of out of left field. I know pre-show we talked about this a little bit. Again, tell us in 30 seconds what the hell Miitopia is.
I mean, they skipped over. They've said in the past that the 3DS games were going to be coming to Switch. Remember? They said that, and we've been waiting, and we haven't really seen much. So this is one of them, and we're going to see more of these.
But this is a new game.
No, this is a port of the 3DS version.
Oh,
you didn't know that? Yeah, it was a 3DS game.
I thought this was like a new, same IP, new version, a new game.
So it is. They're updating the graphics. They added like a horse. They've added more hairstyles. So they've they've enhanced the game. There might be some quality of life improvements. This was a game that I played fairly recently, like maybe a year and a half ago or so. And it's a good game. You basically you get a bunch of Miis, and then you put them into your story, and it's like an RPG, a turn-based RPG. And it's funny because like you can have, like, when I played, I had Reggie Fils-Aimé in my game. I had my wife and my kids were in the game. I can't remember who I made as my main enemy. Oh, I know. It was my friend Dylan was my main enemy. So it's fun. And then they talk, and it's just like, these are my friends. So when you play on 3DS, I always recommend, like, get a bunch of Miis on your system and then get them into the game. I think it's totally fun. It's worth. I felt like it ran like 5 to 6 hours too long when I thought it was over, and it just keeps going and going and going.
Mm-hmm.
But it's totally worth playing. I think you would have you'd have a lot of fun with it.
I think this is like a $60 game, or no way?
Do we know what they're charging for this?
I'm not sure either.
It's one of those games where, yeah, they might charge 60. I'll try to look. They might try to charge 60. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and say you have to get this one. It's just, if you're comfortable paying $60 for a game that's probably not worth $60, then it looks like it's 50.
Yeah, so, $49.99.
Yeah, it's 40 on 3DS, so 50 on Switch. It has upgraded visuals and stuff. I think it's worth it, but it's a good game.
I'll be excited.
Coming out. I'm excited.
I'll be excited.
Yeah, and then we got the Animal Crossing Mario stuff, which I thought was super cool looking. Are you going to grab some of this stuff?
I wasn't impressed. I know we didn't see a lot of stuff, and I haven't been playing Animal Crossing religiously anymore. I put my 100 hours in, and that was it. But I don't know. I was almost expecting more. But one feature I did notice I thought was pretty cool was the pipe feature, which you can use to teleport around your island. I thought that was pretty neat.
I feel like that's yeah. I think everyone.
But that's going to be big in a sense where I wonder if they're going to start allowing you to build areas now that are inaccessible, but only by pipe.
Possibly, but
maybe not though. I don't know.
I was talking about this in the Dad Crossing channel. Like, where are you going to put your pipes? And I was thinking one pipe next to the airport and like one pipe near your house, so it's easier to get from your house to your airport. But some people might be near their airport. So I also said a pipe by my house and then a pipe near where Red shows up. Because sometimes I want to go check for Red and I have to kind of like meander all the way to this area that I don't care about. So I'll be curious to see. Or some people might just put it on opposite sides of their island just to warp back and forth. So I really love it. I don't play Animal Crossing right now. But I have my Halloween section and I have my Christmas section. My Christmas area is too big. So I'm going to cut it in half, and I'm going to have a Nintendo area, my Nintendo world, if you will. And then I think at that point, that's it. I might be done with Animal Crossing. I'll have Halloween, Christmas, Nintendo, no other space. But I'm super excited for it.
Yeah. I don't know. My kids might jump in. I might let them jump in, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, that's good. I was particularly tingled by the Project Triangle strategy. These are the same people that made
Octopath. This game for you. Let's be honest.
They did. And I loved Octopath. And I love the Bravely Default series. And this just feels right in line with all of that. I will say I downloaded the demo. And this was last night. I sat down to play the demo. And I did not like the demo.
What didn't you like?
So here's the thing. I did not like the Dark Souls Remastered demo. I did not like the Bravely Default 2 demo. And the problem that I have is these demos aren't like the beginning of the game. They put you in the middle of the game. So in Project Triangle Strategy, you start a fight and you have all your capabilities. And you have and I understand they want you to tell them about the game.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't like it. I need to see the beginning of the story. I need to go through tutorials
that
and
makes
stuff.
Me thinking maybe we can put this for a future question, but I would like to know, and maybe this would be a question to our audience, what would you like to see in the perfect demo? What is the perfect demo? You know what I mean?
I just want the first couple hours of the game. Remember the Age of Calamity demo started at the beginning and then got to a certain point and it cut it off.
But the first couple hours sometimes should be very story driven heavy or one character heavy or.
But isn't the goal? So the reason is this isn't a demo in terms of like, hey, do you find this interesting? This is a demo about, hey, give us feedback. They are very open about give us
Correct.
feedback. So I understand,
Which is
but like
nice.
I played the demo. There was tons of dialogue to start, and then they go into battle. And I don't know if you ever played Final Fantasy Tactics, but when you play a game like Fire Emblem, a character goes in one place, another character goes in another place. That's it. The distance between them is all you care about. In Fire Emblem and Final Fantasy Tactics and this game, when you go to a square, they actually make you say, where do you want to defend? Do you want to face this way or do you want to face this way or backwards?
And
So there's that
more damage. Yeah.
It's more positional, and I'm not really familiar with that. So I kind of went like, I got to think this through. This is really different than anything I've played, even like a Mario Rabbids. And you know what I did? I just stopped the demo and said, I'm gonna buy this game. There's no doubt about it. I just want to play it from the beginning. I need some more tutorializing. I'm not going to spend time figuring out this demo. So I'll be curious. It sounds like Third Strongest Mole really liked it. My friend Dylan really liked it. So I'm sold on the game. I'll play it when it comes out. I don't have time to mess with demos.
Yeah. You know what? I need to take that stop in the show for a second because I forgot to mention. You mentioned your buddy or your friend, and it has to remind me to say I did the give Kevin a big thank you and shout out for coming on last week's episode. It was a blast listening to you guys chat. He's a good dude. He's welcome back anytime.
He's in the Discord now. He's Bob Cousy in the Discord.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Well, he wanted to join the fun, join the mayhem.
Got his name read off.
I think I introduced him with a nice couple female booby gifs. So the next one here that kind of grabbed my interest, John, Star Wars Hunters. Now
I'm going to take a nap for a couple minutes while you talk about this lousy thing. So here we go.
Didn't see anything, right? We kind of just saw some music, some logos, some schematics, but I envision this as like I'm really crossing my fingers like a Paladin. It's like this seems to be a deathmatch style, third person or first person type shooter, season pass, whatever. I think that's what I'm thinking of this, and that's what I'm hoping for. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
I could give a shit about it, really.
Yeah. Now you just don't care about Star Wars, or you just don't care about these types of games?
The Star Wars universe is so overdone right now. I can't stand it. But it was one of those trailers. They don't show you anything, and people are excited because it says Star Wars Hunters. So I get it. I get it if you like that universe, but I don't know. It's just there's nothing I really liked from it.
Now, Hunters. I wonder if that's gonna play off like what's hot right now with Monster Hunters.
Possibly, but who knows?
Anyways, but next was I don't know if we should say thrown off guard or nice to see. Age of Calamity Season Pass.
We knew it.
Season Pass. I feel like people throw this phrase out way too much. Season Pass is not the right name for this. You want a hot take on this one? I got a hot take for you. Season Pass is basically shitty DLC until next year. That's what it means. And this Age of Calamity is doing the exact same thing. We're going to give you see that I saw this in Fire Emblem 3 Houses. You see it in lots of games. We're going to give you like a couple costumes next week or today, right? Mm-hmm. And then we're going to give you a little bit more. And then the last DLC is going to be, this is what you really want. But that's not a season pass to me. That's like download pack 1, pack 2, and pack 3. Season pass is like a battle pass. It's like a Fortnite thing where it's 90 days long. Like to me, that is a season pass.
Yeah.
This is just download content, different packs. I don't.
We never got a second season in Breath of the Wild.
Correct. I don't understand why they call it a season, but this comes out in May. I'm
June
sorry.
And November.
What's your take? I mean, are you going back to this game?
Not a chance. No.
Now this is it's $20. This isn't free or anything like that.
There's no chance. Yeah. And in fact, on the show, on the Nintendo Dad shows, Justin mentioned that I harass him about playing Age of Calamity, and that I do. But I did enjoy my time with Age of Calamity. There was so many flaws in the game, and I'm a little disheartened they didn't fix some of those, especially the frame rate issues. But yeah, and I was trying to we were trying to grind it on Mayhem. It just got really really bland, and you've had to like really grind out all these other characters, and there's no way I'm going back to Age of Calamity. I enjoyed my time with it. That's it. No more. And if you did you look at the list of things in the season pass?
I did not.
It's like mostly costumes and some other fights. They're gonna throw some more stuff on your map. So you're gonna boot up Age of Calamity, and it's gonna go bing 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 bing.
My problem is Mario Golf comes out 3 days before this, so right there you'll know I will never. No, I'm sorry. This is June. I'm sorry. Mario Golf is June,
Yeah.
but I have to see what else is out. I can't say yes or no.
Yeah.
However, speaking of Zelda, Skyward Sword.
Very excited
What's your
about
take on this? This was a roller coaster ride because there's a few people in Discord as well on this one. Might have been Dan. I'm not sure who, but I was on the same page here. At first, I was like, they were showing all the motion controls, and I was like, I'm out. I'm not playing this game and using a Joy-Con. Nope. And then they introduced the Joy-Con controls, which I thought was very well done. It's just a legit swipe one way of the Joy-Con, or the joystick rather. You didn't play this? You didn't pick it up?
I think I'm gonna play through it again. I played through it on the Wii. I didn't like fully complete it or anything.
Yep, same.
But yeah, I got tired of the Zelda formula, but I'm kind of like aching for the classic Zelda formula. So I think I'm gonna play it again. There's never anything to worry about on Switch. They will always allow you to play the game handheld. So as soon as I mentioned it, by the way, I think it was a big mistake by Nintendo to put this Direct out without showing Breath of the Wild 2. I just think late in this Direct, when they show Ananuma and he comes out and he says, I have nothing for Breath of the Wild 2, it has been 15 months since, and I love this Direct. There was a lot of cool stuff in here. But it has been 15 months since you did a Direct, and you do a Direct, and the two biggest titles that are mentioned in this Direct don't have a lot. You don't have a lot to show. So I just thought it was weird. It was like, why not wait a couple more months and then do it? Why do it now and then have this noticeable? Like they shouldn't have even talked about Breath of the Wild 2. Just show Skyward Sword, like the way they did Link's Awakening. I think by saying, why come out there and say we have nothing to tell you? Just show Skyward Sword. That's it. Like
I agree. So here's my take on this. I probably will pick it up as well, but here's some concerns or questions. I still think that within the next couple months we see a Zelda 35th anniversary specific Direct, and there's some rumors floating around about this, right? With the new console, some other things, and also there's the rumor of still floating around with the Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask remake. Here's my problem. If those do come to tuition, I can't handle playing Skyward Sword and those two games in the same calendar year. That's just a lot of Zelda. And I love Zelda.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So if let's say a Ocarina of Time Majora's Mask bundle gets announced. The remake HD.
Yeah, that's not happening now.
That's my fear. But if it does, would you not play Skyward Sword?
No,
I play those two.
I think by releasing Skyward Sword in July, the earliest you'll see Breath of the Wild 2, and this is not a surprise, but is holiday. They're not going to squeeze it in. You are not going to see Ocarina. You're not going to see a 35th anniversary. I can add that to my predictions. There's not going to be an anniversary pack with more Zelda games.
That's my fear.
Too much Zelda. They're just not doing that. That is my fear. Yeah.
And then we end the Direct with another nice surprise, Splatoon 3.
Yes. So exciting. I did not expect.
So I love Splatoon 1. Played the crap out of it, multiplayer, online, everything. For whatever God's reason, I skipped Splatoon 2, and I kind of regretted it over time. But then I was like, it's not a game I can kind of get into later in the game. I'm going to be so far behind in the multiplayer. It's just it wasn't going to work.
Yeah. You could get into it. I mean, they'll pair you up against newer players, and right now is a great time to start it because a lot of people are now exploring Splatoon 2
But I know enough about it. I mean, I don't think it's drastically different, right? I mean, I know it has like the salmon runs and stuff like that, but I'm definitely going to pick this up. I'm excited to see.
Yeah, I was surprised by it. We knew it was going to come. I kind of just assumed it would be a launch day title with the next console.
I did too.
I'm surprised to see it, but I'm glad. I'm glad that they're going to
Yeah.
have multiple Splatoons. It looks great. I mean, it also right now doesn't look drastically different, except for it seems like instead of having a base on the map, you spawn in the sky, and then you can go anywhere on the map you want, which is great. Because a lot of matches where if you're overmatched by the other team, they will surround your base and just obliterate you. And so by having you be able to spawn anywhere, it allows you to sort of like break out and stop that strategy. I think some people won't like it because they'll feel like they can't dominate. So we'll see what happens. But I think that's a really important change to it. Yeah, and on Splatoon 2, the Salmon Run mode, I mean, to this day, I love playing Salmon Mode. I don't play it that much because there's so many other games to play, but Salmon Run is a great way to just sit down for like an hour and just join up with some other people and co-op. Like it's not competitive. You're co-op with each other. And so I hope Salmon Run continues in Splatoon 3. I hope they keep that mode. I love that mode.
Yeah, I'm excited to try it.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up number 10, though, John, I do want to mention that earlier this week we also had BlizzCon. From the company Blizzard, if you don't know, folks. And two big things came out of that. The first one, a little bit more on the minor scale, I would say, is a Switch collection of the Blizzard Arcade Collection, is what they're calling it. And it features 3 of the Blizzard retro-type games, The Lost Vikings, Blackthorn, and Rock and Roll Racing. Now, I'm not too familiar with the first 2, but I will say Rock and Roll Racing is one of my all-time favorite racing games that I played on the Sega, and it is an absolute blast. I'm pumped for just this game alone. I would pay $30 to play this remastered. Now, is it interesting that these are the 3 games that they chose? But I don't know. You have any interest in this?
Zero. You messaged me and said, like, what, hot rod racing? What is it called? Hot rod racing?
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll racing. You're like, you didn't tell me rock and roll racing. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And you're like, it got announced. It's my all-time favorite racing game. And it's like, what the fuck is, I've never heard of it. And like none of it. I've heard of Blackthorn and Lost Vikings. I've seen them on consoles. I didn't even know they were arcade games. Like, I don't know. No interest in them.
Well,
none.
I'll pick
Zero.
this up for Rock and Roll Racing alone.
Yeah.
However, John, I think another game was announced that's going to grab mine of your interest. Diablo 2.
So exciting.
So many memories of sitting in my mom's basement, staying up to 2 a.m., playing Diablo 2 with some buddies, and probably sneaking in, a Miller Lite or something that I probably shouldn't have been drinking. This looks like they copied over a Diablo 3 game engine. I mean, the graphics look fantastic for a pretty old game.
And I've never played Diablo 2 ever.
It's good.
By the time I got interested in it, I didn't have a system I could play it on. I mean, I think Diablo came out when I was in college in mid 90s. And so Diablo 2, I think, came out, around 2000. I'm super excited. It looks like it's just the Diablo 3 engine, right?
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay. And which is fine. I mean, yeah. I mean, hopefully there's quality of life improvements. I don't know what those would be because I've never played Diablo 2, but it just seems like this is a great one to start. There is the possibility that it's just so much Diablo 3 like that maybe it just feels like an expansion pack for 3, but I think you and I need to get into this.
We will. I mean, I think they have all the different characters and different playabilities from that point of view. So that alone. Now, the Necromancer was a huge, huge, huge part of Diablo 2. I mean, you could just have like 50 skeletons following you around. That was like one of the big things people loved. So I'm excited. What
do you think about launch day for this? Let's take a day off from work.
Yes, I 100% would take a day out of work launch day and just play for like 6 hours straight.
Okay, because I think the multiplayer is fun when you're all starting from the first level because you're not. It's like you're cheating. So let's find a couple other dudes.
This is something that like when me and you get it, we need to have a character that we only play together, and then any other time me and you want to play, we have a different character.
Exactly. All right, we'll play on
agree.
Number 9.
All right, Drew, Persona 5 Strikers came out. I'm still very sad. I really want to play this game. It looks really cool, but I've never played Persona 5, so I just can't play it. But Jesse is. And one thing that happened that I find really disconcerting is the game is $60, but for $70, they give you the soundtrack and they give you like some items for the game and a whole bunch of other digital content, access to the director and stuff like that. And they give you 4-day early access, which basically means, even though this game I think comes out on Tuesday, that people are already playing the game because of this 4-day access. Look, okay, 4-day early access, but making you pay $10 to play it, and there, you know how it is. There's so many gamers that like want to play this game day one, but if they don't pay the extra $10, all their friends are going to play the game. People are going to beat the game before day one, and they got to avoid spoilers for 4 days. I just think it's a big FU to the fan base, and it's a shakedown of $10. And
Listen,
if this becomes popular, if we see this more and more, I am not going to be happy about that.
It is a little sleazy, I guess you should say. I mean, it depends on what the other value you're getting. Now, if this was for Mario Golf, I'm all on board. Just sign me up.
Okay, let me ask you this way. If Nintendo said, hey, if you pay $70 for Paper Mario, you can play the game 4 days early. And let's just say that was it. And you decided, no, I'm not going to pay that extra $10. I'm going to wait. And for 4 days, you heard people in the Discord talking about the game, posting screenshots, video. You know what I mean? Like, it's a shakedown.
I mean, it's an option. You don't have to.
You don't have to, but it's going to ruin your day one experience if you don't. And I think that sucks.
Yeah, I do. I'm definitely a sucker for enjoying my play experience and sharing it with other people through Discord. Like that's part of the fun, and that's a lot of reasons why I like Splatoon 2 is a good example. It wouldn't be as easy for me to play with my friends now. Not everybody's playing Splatoon 2, and that's why I play games. So I agree. That's an odd thing.
All right.
Number 8.
Mortal Kombat. John, what a trailer! I'm assuming you watched it. It's epic. Amy's all on board. She wants to watch it. So if you guys don't know, the Mortal Kombat trailer dropped. It's going to be on HBO Max. It comes out in April, but it also comes out to the theaters. HBO has pissed off a lot of theaters, to be honest. They pissed off a lot of people. I'm not getting into the movie industry.
Well, Warner, right? Warner Brothers, right? I mean,
Warner Brothers in general pissed off a lot of people. A lot of stuff happening in that world. But this comes out in April. Speaking of HBO in general, they got a big lineup coming up. I'm kind of excited for. Next Friday, they have the new Tom and Jerry movie.
Oh, God.
That's a good kids movie, right? March, they have Godzilla versus Kong. And then in April, they have the Mortal Kombat. So this movie looks fantastic. It looks like it's almost like a little bit of the origins when they kind of shows how the characters become the characters and the actual tournament. It's almost like a remake of the original stuff, which I'm more familiar with. What are they on now? Mortal Kombat 11 is the newest one?
That's the newest one, yeah.
I'm really a Mortal Kombat 1, a little bit of Mortal Kombat 2. I think that's when Reptile got introduced, and very little Mortal Kombat 3. Like I grew up really on 1 and 2. So this seems like it really follows a lot of those roots. I'm excited. This looks fantastic.
I mean, it looks like a shitty movie, but I will watch it the first day it's on HBO Max. I will be really curious to see how much fighting is in it. You know how these movies come out sometimes and there's just all this dialogue and talking about governing and, you know, the illegal trade of the Mortal Kombat. So everyone wants to see characters fighting and crazy CGI. If they do that, it'll be a fun movie to watch. It's probably going to be like, you know, a shitty story and whatever, but that's fine. It looks fun and stupid. I never like in any of the Mortal Kombat movies where Sub-Zero doesn't seem very human. He doesn't seem like just a dude that's chatting and he just has these Sub-Zero powers. He's always like unhuman, and I don't know if that's in the storyline, but I'd love to see Scorpion and Sub-Zero be a little bit more like the other characters, you know.
Well,
they always focus on Sonya. I mean, like Sonya and Johnny Cage and all that are the normals.
Isn't Scorpion like isn't it when his fatality, he takes his mask off and he's like a stall
Yeah,
skeleton? So I
Yeah.
don't think those two really are supposed to be human.
maybe not, but like they're centering it around Sonya, and it's like Sonya's not. I don't know. She's not like a mainline. I don't know. I just want to see Sub-Zero like have a casual conversation with somebody, and oh by the way, he can like summon ice.
Well,
I don't know.
I think that's the wrong movie for you then.
All right. Well, I'm excited to see it. We'll see it.
Number 7.
Drew, we got a question.
Ooh,
This
love
one is
questions.
from Neoprime33. That would be Tim. Hollywood is making a new video game movie, and they want you to play a role in it, acting or voice acting. What video game is it, and what role is it, and is it live action or cartoon?
Ooh. You want me to go or you go first?
Why don't you go first?
Okay. I'm gonna go with a romantic dramedy called 50 Shades of Drew. And of course it would be about me and taking some Yoda classes with my Wii Fit trainer. And it was just of course rated R for the several sex scenes and naughty play.
Or can we go a little further than that? I want
What?
a NC-17 version.
Yep.
I don't want to see you though, but
You'll see my ass. That's it. Yeah.
I'm intrigued
That's
and
it.
disturbed.
That's it.
Nice.
I mean, it's pretty strict.
I am gonna go with the upcoming Mario movie because we've talked about who is going to be the voice actor, and it should be me. I'm a Mario. I want to be the Charles Martinet. I want to do Wario. I like a garlic. I want to do all the Charles Martinet voices. So if we can't have Charles Martinet, it's going to be John Blanco.
Be like the stand-in. You know, there's like stand-ins in real films. But...
I'm the cheap Charles Martinet, the budget Charles Martinet.
You should voice like Toad.
That's what I'm doing.
Number 6.
All right, folks. Somehow I convinced. Nope. Let me rephrase that. I told John that we are making an entire number all about Mario Golf. So for the next 5 minutes, I'm going to tell John to just please zip his mouth. I'm going to tell you everything I need to know, and then John can ask questions about it. So Mario Golf Super Rush, folks. Not crazy about the name, but that's okay. I think they're going to focus around that online multiplayer mode we'll get to. So here's what happened. I rewatched this announcement trailer several times. I think it's like 2 minutes and 12 seconds. I paused it several times, rewound it. Probably ended up turning into a 30-minute video.
Did you have a tissue box next to you during this?
Not for my nose. Now, I'm going to break it down in a couple categories. The first one here is characters and clothing and what we know so far from this little trailer. We know that there's 12 playable characters. And I know this because of the video we brought it down, as well as the Nintendo website gives a little bit of teasers in there. So Mario and Luigi. Now, this is the first time we really see for a golf video game where Mario and Luigi are wearing different types of clothing, very detailed golf attire. Specifically, you see them wearing not their typical gloves, but they actually wear golf gloves. As even more detail as you can see on the cleats of the golf shoes. You can see the spikes underneath them as their golf spikes. Very interesting take. Very cool to see all the different upgrades you can do here. Waluigi, he has this weird fedora gangster look going on, which I thought was interesting. Wario, the amazing checkered pants and a cowboy hat. Thought that was an odd choice. Peach and Daisy, looking good as ever, may I say. Peach had the nice little long, like knee-high socks. Those were, Yoshi, of course, naked as usual. That guy just, can't get any pants. But we did see a pink Yoshi, which leads me to believe, kind of like Mario Kart, we can probably change colors. Who knows? Maybe all 9, or we'll see. Donkey Kong, wearing his tie as usual. Toad, I loved Toad's outfit. He's pretty much dressed in Scottish attire, with the little plaid vest. He has the Tammy hat, as you know, like the little Scottish hat that sits on top of your head with the little, the little cotton ball. Bowser wearing pants is, again, unusual. I think we saw Bowser wearing pants in his wedding garment.
Got to dress up.
Yeah. He had some fingerless gloves, almost like, the motorcycle type looking gloves, so that was interesting. Of course, we've seen Mies which was in this video there was a female me called Mia, which is weird, trying to let the character me versus Mamma Mia. So I thought that was clever by Nintendo. And then they did not show this in the trailer, but they see it on the website that King Bomb Bomb is going to be a playable character, John. I thought that was very interesting. He's a fun character. Now, he was seen a lot in the older Mario games, believe it or not. If you remember correctly, it was actually a level based off of Bomb Bombs in Toadstool. Courses. So we get to see 3 courses. A grassland, which is trying to be looked at almost like a farmland or countryside, which is you would assume is probably the first course of world. We saw some desert courses, which is we've seen those famous stone eyes that have been introduced in some more recent Mario games, some pokies around there and some palm trees. And the last one we saw was like a forest, which is more like a mystical, foggy forest, which, John, reminded me a lot of Mario Odyssey, the Wooded Kingdom. Specifically when, you jump over the ledge and you go into the T-Rex type realm with like the redwood trees and things like that. I wonder if this is the Wooded Kingdom reference, which makes me believe, do we see anything else like some T-Rexes roaming around or anything like that, which would be cool. Now, we do know in previous Mario Golf games, Toadstool Tour from the GameCube had 7 courses, and the World Tour from the 3DS had 10 courses. We've only seen 3, so that leads us to believe we should see, hopefully, 7 or so more courses. Now, the interface had a lot of changes, and some very specific ones I noticed. The first one was the map. So there was a mini-map, which the mini-map tells you a lot, because every previous Mario game we've ever played just only had one course one hole at a time. You couldn't really see other holes in the distance or anything like that. Now with this mini map, we can actually see a full golf course layout with paths between holes, different tee markers, which makes me believe this could be something to do with the speed golf, how you have to run from hole to hole possibly. But it's very interesting to see. We might even see more of like an open world concept, maybe a different type of mode where you can go from hole to hole. There's a thing we call cross country golf, which is pretty much you tee off on hole number 1 and you have to go to hole number 4, and any means necessary you get there. So there's a lot of interesting concepts by introducing an entire course layout rather than hole by hole. Some other new features I found was with the shot gauge. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe all previous Mario Golf games had a horizontal shot gauge at the bottom. This introduces a vertical one on the side. With everything in the trailer showed auto, which, if you remember the old ones, you had to do auto or manual. Essentially, auto would go up once, manual would go up and down, having to hit the A button twice. So we didn't see any manual accuracy things, but we did see some arrows if you really zoomed in there, which makes me believe we will see a manual accuracy as well. Of course, we've seen motion controls, which will be interesting. And there was a lot of other color changes in this shot gauge that kind of signified, red meaning the ball was in the air, orange was on the ground, and blue was putting, which can mean a lot of other interesting things. The hovering flag returns, which I love. It's on the top of the screen. It shows where the hole is with the arrows showing elevations. We do see some environment elements, rain, wind, possibly fog. Who knows what else we'll see? Maybe some sandstorms or other things like that. And on to one of the newer modes, Speed Golf. I noticed 2 things here. Speed Golf, it's pretty much the ability to run throughout shots. All right, you have to hit the ball. Some cool features where you actually put your golf bag down. They show the characters pick their golf bag back up. And as soon as you hit it, you have to run to your ball, hit it again until it gets in the hole. Now, there's power-ups involved that can help you hit your opponents or run faster. I noticed there's hearts on the course. So if you pick up your hearts, it can kind of get your gauge back up there. They showed a few examples of this. Luigi had his ice flower, showing him kind of ice skating. Yoshi jumped on his Yoshi egg. And Peach, I don't know what the hell she was doing. She was like dancing around in with a little baton. Now,
she's distracting everybody.
It worked. There's also power shots, John, where they showed Mario grab his star and pretty much just do some type of power shot where it'll actually...
Did you just say power shart?
That might be a different type of game. Well, this one seemed interesting because you could actually affect if you hit other players with it as far as also maybe hitting this further. Now, to increase this gauge, I believe there was coins on the course that you had to pick up. All right, last part, John. Story mode. I'm all in for this one. A lot of things I did notice, though. Of course, you're going to use a custom me, which you can play and power up throughout the levels. When you're in town, there's red arrows, kind of like a MMO type style game where it kind of shows you where to go next. You follow the arrow if you're on a quest. I did notice that all the NPCs were Bowser minions, which I thought was interesting. Every time the me went and talked to somebody, it was like a Shy Guy, a Goomba, a Koopa, a Hammer Brother, something like that. Also in story mode, they have goals and challenges for inside each course. When you're playing, you might have to do a certain thing. And then I also noticed when you go to upgrade your skills for your me, it comes into 5 sections. Power, which is really how far you hit the ball. Stamina, which I assume is how long you can dash for. Speed, how fast you can run. Control, which is how straight you hit it. And then spin, of course, is your spin control. So, John, I broke this game down quite a bit. I'm super excited. I can't wait to see more about it. What's your overall take on it?
This is made by Camelot. Do we know that?
It is.
Okay.
It is.
That is the biggest negative for this game.
Stop it.
Everything that you described sounds great. But remember when Tennis Aces something or other, what was it called? I don't know. That whenever the tennis game for Switch, Mario Aces or whatever it was, they talked about a story mode. A lot of the same things that we saw here. The story mode being the most exciting and the power shots and all that. And in practice, I find that Camelot, and they've done other sport games, I think, in the past. The tennis game felt too safe. It didn't feel arcadey enough to me. And the power shot stuff, holy hell.
Oh.
Like, all it does was suck up time. It was like, I didn't want to do a power shot because I don't want to sit there and watch the stupid animation for the time. So I'm really hoping that they address some of that in this game and, like, for instance, make the story mode a lot better, because the story mode in the tennis game was just like point to point, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't exciting. Make that better. And the power shots, like, please, God, don't make them just dominate the game and make the online super boring. Because I didn't play the online much because the power shots just took forever.
Well, let's be honest. Tennis is a tough game to put into a video game. Tough sport, rather, to put into a video game. It's not the most exciting. Do you know what I'm saying? It's a tricky... to have the entire game revolve around just tennis. If it was like Mario Sports and tennis was one of 5 games, I think it's okay.
Yeah, but we're talking golf here, too. I mean, you love golf, but I mean, golf and tennis are not but I think golf has a lot of variety and a lot of different things could happen. Tennis is really, you're on one court. It's just back and forth. Golf is so many more variables. Yeah. And if you make it mini golfy, it can be more fun. I'm just worried it's going to be very safe and clean, and it's going to have a lot of the same issues that the tennis game had, but I'll give it a shot.
I believe Mario Golf, the first one for N64, had a mini golf mode.
Well, that's good. I've never played the Mario Golf games. I think I tried the one on 3DS. I bought it, and I played it for like 20 minutes.
I'll tell you what, I didn't like it.
Yeah, really?
It wasn't great. I think GameCube Toadstool Tour is by far the best one.
Okay. I think like the Mario Baseball on the GameCube is the best one, and Mario Strikers on the GameCube is the best one. And I feel like they've just lost their way, because I didn't like Mario Strikers Recharged, and I didn't like the golf game on 3DS, and I didn't like the tennis game on Switch. I think they just need to be more arcadey is all I'm saying.
I think so. I think Speed Golf will... I'm just nervous Speed Golf. I don't want that to take over everything else. That should just be one small feature.
The great equalizer.
Number 5.
Interesting story that popped up. The PS5 controller, the Dual Sense, is having drift. So all of the laughing at Nintendo hardware goes away because the PS5 controllers get drift. There were people that were reporting it within 10 days of getting the system, and there are no known cures for it. And instead of getting Nintendo's amazing, great customer support, you are fucked with Sony's terrible customer support. My one experience with Sony's technical support was when I got a PS3, and 10 months later, the Blu-ray laser died. I don't know what happened, but I could play DVDs, but I could not play the games or a Blu-ray movie. So it was like the Blu-ray part was broken. And I had to send it to Sony and pay them $100.
Oh my god!
And they had my PS3 for like 3 weeks to fix the Blu-ray laser 10 months after I got my PS3. So yeah, screw Sony. But yeah, obviously the drifting problem is an issue. We know that the drift has, I don't want to say an excuse for it, but those Joy-Cons are very vertically small. They can't be thick. And I think that's why we get more controller problems with them. But yeah, I'm a little surprised, I would say, that the PS5 has those issues. But we've seen the Pro Controller has those issues. And I've heard the Xbox gets it too. I haven't experienced it ever on a PS4 or or an Xbox controller. So we'll see. But it looks like Nintendo is not alone in drifting problems. So there.
I have no comment.
Number 4.
All right, John, I need some help and advice here. So I noticed the other day my data management on my Switch was getting full to capacity. I got to be honest, I don't even know what SD card I have in there because whenever I bought my Switch, I bought one, I put it in there. My guess is it could be as small as a 64. It's probably 128 gigs. But I noticed it was getting to be full. So I went through, I did some house cleaning, and then I deleted some stuff. But I did go out and I bought myself a nice Nintendo brand SD card, 256 gigs, the little yellow star one.
Mm-hmm. It's the one I have.
I want you to maybe tell me and refresh the listener's memory on how do you really upgrade your SD card in the Switch? What's the best method to now? Because you, who own 8 Switches, have done this many times.
I do it all the time.
So what's the best process for me now to get all of my save data off of my Switch onto my new SD card?
It is super easy. You have very little to worry about. Yeah, I've upgraded my SD a couple times. And obviously when you change Switches, you need to like redo everything. And that's the biggest problem is if you get a new Switch, you can't just move your SD card over. So the key things to remember here are that the save data for your games is always, always, always stored on your Switch, the internal memory. Your SD card never has save data. Your SD card only has the games themselves. So you are never at risk for losing anything when you upgrade your SD card. And in the most basic scenario, if you get a new SD card, you take the old one out, you put the new one in. The system will say, hey, there's a new SD card. Do you want me to format it? You say yes. Sometimes that interface locks up a little bit and it might feel like you crashed, but you should just sit and wait. And then, yeah, what you want to do is go to eShop, click your avatar on the top right corner, and one of the tabs on the left will say re-download. And that will be the list of all of the stuff that you've downloaded or bought. And there's a little cloud icon, and you just click it to start your re-download. And that's it. Oh. Just go through everything you want to download and click it, and it'll queue them all up. And yeah, that's it.
That's easy. So I don't have to do any type of cloud save backups or anything like that.
No.
Okay.
Nope. Nope. Yeah, because that game data is always on. Now, if you got a new Switch and you were moving your SD card to your new Switch, like I did like a week ago, yeah, you want to do the transfer service. It'll transfer your save data over to the other one, and then you just take that card and move it over. In a perfect world, when you move that card over, all the game data which is sitting on there will just work on the other one. Yeah. But that's not what happens because it's like the card is formatted and tied to that Switch. I think if you take that card out and on like a Windows machine, you do like a digital copy, that will work. I don't know how. But yeah, generally what you're going to need to do is re-download everything, which can be really annoying if you have a lot of games and a lot of big games. But what I would suggest doing is, download the game or two or whatever that you want to play immediately. Don't download everything. And then before you go to bed, go and download everything. And then what I told you is take your Switch, initiate the downloads for everything, plug it in, and put it next to your Wi-Fi router. Hook it up to a wired network if you can. dock
yeah.
it, whatever. But if you're not, put it right next to your Wi-Fi router when you go to bed, and just let that thing download at the fastest speed that it can overnight. I have a few games that are huge, like Diablo 3 and Hellblade, that always take forever to download. Just let those go overnight, and you don't have to worry about it.
Smart.
Yeah, super easy, always worth it. And those SD cards, they go on sale a lot. I don't know. I recommend getting the Nintendo branded ones because they aren't counterfeited. One time when I bought my Switch Lite, bought a bigger SD card, and I had so many problems downloading. I was trying to narrow it down, and I narrowed it down to the Switch Lite. And I literally went to Best Buy to return my Switch Lite and get a new one because I thought it was a Switch Lite. And it turned out my SD card was counterfeit. I had bought it from Amazon, and they sent me a counterfeit one. So I had them send me another one, and it too was counterfeit.
Oh my God.
I went to Best Buy because they don't, you go into the store and you won't get the counterfeit ones. And that one worked. So
Jeez.
I now to this day will not buy them from Amazon anymore. I only buy them from the store, and I prefer to get the Switch ones because they're easier.
I bought mine at Target.
Mhm.
I think the 256 one was $52, I want to say, plus I got the 5% off red card, so whatever, $50, whatever it was.
Yep.
But
yeah,
it's one of those things that you hate spending $50 on because you don't physically really get anything out of it. But
right.
But you need it.
It's great peace of mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Because at some point you're going to download a game and you run out of space.
Well, I noticed it because there was the game legit Paladins. It just had it couldn't even upgrade the latest update.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, it's time.
Number 3.
All right, Drew, I'm sorry to do this to you. I have a topic for number 3 here, but that's not what I'm going to talk about.
Oh, lovely.
I wanted to talk to the Disney guy. Let's talk Peter Pan.
Oh,
what? I have never seen Peter Pan in my life.
Problem.
I made a point to watch Peter Pan last night with my family.
The classic animated film.
What the fuck? I knew going in. My wife had said, yeah, Peter Pan's got some parts that are really sketchy. They're out of date, whatever. And I was like, that's fine. I totally get that. Yep. Old times. That whole movie was a what the fuck. Let me go through this now.
Okay.
The movie starts off. People are dumping on. First of all, the parents are assholes.
Not great parents. They're assholes.
The parents are leaving for some party, and they're leaving their kids alone. There is a dog. Your number one Disney dog.
Number one Disney dog.
The dog watches the children. What?
Wendy's.
Hold on now, Drew. The dog watches the kids as the parents are leaving. Okay, the mom seems really nice, but she's leaving the kids alone, and there's no concern here. Wendy says she's seeing a shadow man coming into the house, and they're just like, okay. And then as they're leaving, the mom says it to the husband, and he's like, whatever. Peter Pan, who is not animated well. Peter Pan has the most punchable face I've ever seen in my life. He looks like the redheaded bully from every 80s movie. So he's not endearing at all. He's an asshole. And they just dump on Wendy because she's a girl. There's parts of this movie where he talks about girls just get hysterical. I mean, holy crap. Then Tinkerbell comes. Tinkerbell's an asshole. Tinkerbell tried to murder Wendy because she was jealous because Wendy was going to kiss Peter Pan. None of this includes the Indian dude. Which is probably the most racist thing in Disney history. It's probably not.
Song. The song's pretty racist.
The song. What is the song called? Why?
Make a red man red.
Yeah, it was why are Indians red? I didn't follow the lyrics the whole way, and by the end of it, Michelle goes well, that was inappropriate. It was holy shit. And then Peter Pan is wearing an Indian headdress, which I've never seen in my life because obviously Disney doesn't promote that. When on your show when it starts off, it's Disney. It's Peter Pan going, "Here we go." It's all magical, and it's oh, where's the part when he's how? It's the whole movie was like, wow. And the whole time I kept thinking, this is Drew's favorite movie. Like how? Like, oh my God. And then they're like getting to the end. They dump on Wendy some more. The Lost Boys. I've always heard about the Lost Boys. Peter Pan and the Lost Boys. That sounds so mystical and whatever.
Yeah.
The Lost Boys are all assholes. It didn't even occur to me that those were the Lost Boys. I must have missed the moment. And I was like, oh, those are the Lost Boys? It's like a bunch of like
they're not
rejects.
impressive.
They're not impressive at all. And then there's one part where they're going to go back home in the morning, which I'm thinking like it's so bizarre. Like the parents are going to see they're gone, but then they come back. It's like 11 o'clock. It's all very weird. Hook is like a misogynist, sexist asshole. Peter Pan is like a dick to Hook.
Listen,
I don't understand why Peter Pan hates Hook necessarily. And then there's like these scenes where they're like gonna bomb Peter Pan. There are very few moments that are endearing. And what I want to know from you too is like Disney has obviously cleaned up Peter Pan over the years, with movies and other animations and stuff. But like holy moly, like to me, Peter Pan is like at the core of classic Disney.
Yeah.
And it's like, how is this movie like? So we talk about like what's that other movie that Splash Mountain's based on?
Yeah, the Song of the South.
Song of the South. But man, Peter Pan needs to be just
Peter
dropped.
Pan's up there. It does have the message before the film now. It never used to. Here's the thing on Peter Pan. You need to put aside all the subliminal messages that it's putting out. Because
it's not subliminal.
There's a lot. And like you said, this is a movie from the 30s. So shit happens. I try to
1953.
I try to put that stuff aside. And I try to look at it from the point of view of it's just a fun film of getting away from reality and going to Neverland. And when you're in Neverland, it's all mermaids and fighting pirates and doing what you want.
The mermaids are fucking hot, man.
Not bad. They're not bad. I agree there. Peter Pan's a stud. Let's just be honest here. So
wait, I just want to say the mermaids, almost all the mermaids have little like seashells over their boobs, which is great. And then there's like this one mermaid that just has her hair, and she's like the raunchy one. She's like, I'm not wearing no seashells.
Listen, I've loved the idea of Peter Pan. I think it's a fantastic story. It's just fun. I don't know. I just love the idea of it. I think I love the idea of it more than the actual film.
I get it from a point of view like Harry Potter is like an escape to this fantasy world.
Yeah.
You enjoy, and then there's some drama. There's some other movies like this. I get it. Like Neverland doesn't come across as like a fun place. You get there and Hook is trying to like bomb people. The Lost Boys are not like cool people to hang out with. So it's like I don't understand. Like right away, like Peter Pan's like, hey, look, it's Hook. Watch me like fuck with this guy. So it didn't come across to me as like a magical, fun place I'd love to live. Like, what is the endearing part about Neverland?
I think it's the idea. Like I said, I think it's just the idea of Neverland and escaping reality.
It's just, so basically, I think it's like flying to Neverland, like that part. Oh, by the way, I didn't know Tinkerbell didn't talk. They also grab Tinkerbell and just shake her violently to get pixie dust off of her.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
And she's like captured and constantly put in prisons.
She's abused. There's a lot going on.
There's a lot of
There's
a lot of older movies I like. The 80s is full of like movies with hardcore misogyny and all that. I get that. And you look past it and you're like, I can whatever, I can still watch The Cosby Show and like enjoy it and whatever. But like, woo, Peter Pan, man, like the whole movie is like.
So you didn't like it, you're saying?
I didn't really like it. My two boys left before the movie ended. They didn't enjoy it. My daughter stayed the whole time, but she was not really enjoying it. But like a lot of younger kids, they don't. I mean, it's an older animation. It wasn't widescreen, like that sort of thing. But yeah, Peter Pan just didn't come across as like a likable dude. And yeah, I mean, I liked Wendy. I thought she was animated really well.
Yeah.
and she seemed really nice and whatever. But you can definitely see, when Disney used to animate the older movies, they'd have actors,
Yeah.
and you can tell with Wendy,
Yeah.
it was easily drawn over a person. But yeah, no, it didn't. You must have like some super nostalgia for it. That was a
Really
painful.
no like hidden memories or anything. Again, I love the idea of Neverland. I love the character of Peter Pan. I don't know. I can't help it. He's
I
a little
think.
natural leader, and I respect him.
Is there a new Peter Pan, like a new animated one? Because when I think of Peter Pan, I think of like
Not animated, no. I mean, you have Hook, right, with Robin Williams, which is
I
a little
haven't.
different.
Yeah, I need to see that one.
You never seen Hook? That's
I
a
haven't seen
classic.
Hook either. No, I haven't seen it, but I heard Tinkerbell is Julia Roberts, so I don't know.
They are making a new, like, based on Wendy type
Okay.
approach. But anyway,
Sorry to put
Peter
you.
Pan.
Sorry to put you on there.
I always thought Peter Pan. Fucking love
I
it.
was avoiding it all day just for that.
Love it.
Peter Pan on Disney Plus, everybody, watch it now.
Number 2.
We got some new Nintendo sales numbers. They came out February 1st, but it's been a while. We haven't talked in a long time. And a couple of interesting things here. This is something I can't remember if we talked about, but the Switch has hit 80 million in sales. 1 million of those purchased by people other than me. That's an incredible number. Not surprising, but it's an incredible number. The Nintendo is chasing right now, in terms of home consoles, the Wii, which sold 101 million. So it is 21 million away. There is no doubt it's going to pass the Wii. But the number that I'm looking at is the PlayStation 4, because I don't think it's fair to really compare console sales. The NES is nowhere close in console sales. I think it was like 40 million or something. It's different times. When the NES was out, gaming was something that some people did. Nowadays, everybody plays.
I would say it was also more of a high-end hobby back then.
Exactly. And it was for kids. Kids played the NES.
Well, I think it was adults as well, though, because this was the first time adults could kind of migrate from like their arcade when they're the arcade days to their home console.
When I had an NES, I didn't know any of my friends who had an NES.
Let me put it this way: I was a young lad, John, when the NES came out.
You was a lad.
My parents played the NES, and I used to watch them when I was like 3 years old.
You're in that generational gap where, like, nowadays the parents play games, but the typical thing when I was a kid was the kid got a console and the parents did not play video games at all.
I think there's that wave of Atari and NES where parents, 30-year-olds would get the system because they grew up playing in like the penny arcades and stuff like that, and then it was I believe that.
Well, I mean, obviously comparing sales of NES to Switch is totally unfair. Like we were in a generation where everybody plays games. Parents play games. Sometimes grandparents play games. Kids play games. We're playing on mobile, whatever. So even if your mom or your grandma only plays on their phone, everybody's gaming. And so sales numbers are going to be just much higher.
What I think it's interesting too with the Switch, where this is the first time, and more because it's a handheld system, that you see a family own multiple consoles.
Correct.
Right? Like how many families own more than one PlayStation 4? Let's use that as your example since it's on here.
That's
what
probably
I mean?
a little bit rarer, but I know my like nephews, they each had their own
But that's
Xbox.
rare.
That is a little rarer for the home consoles. My family has 7 Switches, in active use. So that's different because it's kind of a portable. You can get away with that.
But that's my point, right? So is it almost fair to compare the Switch to other home consoles?
I think it is because it's $300. I think you can get a little unfair talking about $100 portable or $150 portable. You're still talking about a $300 home console that does have portability. I
think it's fair, but I think if it's also not fair in the sense where I don't know. You like I said, you get the multiple units per home. You have people that would have bought, just the portable, like a 3DS of some sort, which now don't buy that. So
Yeah,
I'd be really interested to see what those.
it's a
I
console
wish
sale.
if
I think when you say there's 80 million Switch hardware sales, that doesn't mean 80 million people have a Switch, right?
no,
There's a
but
lot
so
of people
if
that
you
have
had to
bought.
guess, what would be that number?
I honestly don't know. I would say maybe like 50 million, 40, between 40 and 50 million
So
different
at
Switch
that
owners.
point, if the Switch had only sold 50 million units, is it
Yeah.
considered successful?
It doesn't matter. It sold 80 million.
I'm just asking you though.
If it was 50 million, I think before the Switch came out, if you said 50 million, they'd say that was successful. But, a year into the Switch, 50 million, I would have been like, oh God, that would be a complete failure because it's like such a hot piece of hardware. Once the Switch came out and everyone just sort of universally loved it, 50 million would have been a disappointment. I think, so here's the situation. I think a lot of console sales are a little warped. The Wii, most households that had a Wii just had a Wii. And the Wii sold 101 million because there were places that didn't normally have a game console that had it, like, retirement communities,
Correct.
grandparents, like the Wii. But
Gyms, lobbies of
the PS2 had record-breaking sales, right? I think it's the top-selling one. But the PS2 was a DVD player for most people, right? A lot of people got a PS2 and didn't play games. They just got it for a DVD player. And the PS3 was a Blu-ray player. I think the PS4 is really the first PlayStation that's really competing at a level of it's a gaming machine. Mm-hmm. And so with Switch at 80 million, the PS4 right now is at 115 million. And to me, that is the real crux. Can the Switch catch the PS4? I think it's going to catch it easily because you're talking 35 million to go. I think it's going to catch it within the next 2 years. And the reason I think that is because the PS4 got to 115 million because of the PS4 Pro, right? Mm-hmm. That the way we classify systems is a little borked, right? The PS4 is a much improved version, and a lot of people that had a PS4 are going to buy the PS4 Pro. We have not seen a Switch Pro.
So let's be honest too, and even without, if a Pro comes out, I agree, so I'm blowing out the water. But even without the Pro, you look at people like me. I mean, I played the shit out of the Switch, and I still have my original hardware console, right?
Right.
So there's got to be a point over the next 2 years. I hate to say it, knock on wood, but it's probably going to start breaking down, or there will be some new special edition that I have to jump on.
Yeah.
So what about those people that are still hung out there, that are still playing every day the original? They're going to upgrade sooner or later. They have to. If you start seeing that, listen, the new hardware is not coming out for a couple more years. Do you upgrade or do you wait?
Well, I think if they put out a revised piece of hardware, a lot of people, like millions of Switch owners, are going to upgrade. Millions of Switch owners are going to upgrade.
I mean, I think like 20 million. I agree.
Easily. And if they put out like a Legend of Zelda special edition, I mean, again, you're going to get millions of people that are going to buy it, even if it's the same Switch. So they have the thing about that, the Switch sales is I think it's going to beat the PS4 because they have so many aces in the hole to sell more Switches. I mean, this has been mostly powered by the original Switch. The only thing they've upgraded is the ones with the better battery. And a lot of people upgraded when the better battery came out.
That's great. I have my battery. I feel like works perfectly fine as the original. I get 3 hours out of it.
It depends on the game. Some games it'll go a lot faster.
Yep.
Some games I remember playing. We were playing Rogue Legacy, and it was like I was playing for a couple hours, and I still had like 80% of my battery.
Yeah. That's true.
But other than that, that's been it. The red Switch is the first one that's not black. And the Pokemon Switch was really cool, but anyway, I think the Switch is going to catch the PS4. I think it's going to pass the PS1 at 102 million, the Wii at 101 million. It's going to be amazing. Some other numbers.
If it ever puts out a Switch Pro, I think you're possibly looking at 150 million.
It depends on how long the Switch is out. I think you're going to see it fly.
But I think if you put a Switch Pro out, I think it's going to extend the whole console hardware for 2 years further than if you don't put it out. So I think you're going to get 2 more years out of the Switch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you're going to have to move into the whole new console, whatever that is. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would say 1 more year of the Switch, then put out the Pro, and then you can sit on the Pro
2
for like
years.
2 to 3 years exactly.
Yep. But if
And
not, you need to start getting a new console with 2 years from now. It needs to come out.
yeah, because I think that's what stopped the Wii. The Wii sales really slowed down because the hardware really looked out of date, and that's when
Yep.
like a lot of people stopped
So
playing
I would
it.
say within the next 12 months, we will find out that we're either getting a Switch Pro or we're going to find out we're getting a new Nintendo console within 12 months. I think you have to find out
I
one of
think
those two
within
things.
12. Yeah. And I think it's going to be when they detect that Switch sales are lagging. But the thing is, you still can't find Switches in stores, so there's no reason for them to do it. I
But
think
it'll
they.
be an announcement, right? If you tell me in 12 months that you're working on a new console and it's going to be out in 2 years, I think that's okay.
I think the announcement will come out like literally a few weeks before they hit the shelves. Because you don't want
No.
to. You don't. Yes. No.
If it's a Pro, yes.
Yes. You don't want to announce it like 5 months in advance because nobody's going to buy Switch, right? You need
If
people to
it's a
buy
Pro,
Switches.
if it's a Pro, yeah. No, I know what you're saying. I agree.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I think they're going to detect when sales are lagging. And that's not going to happen until you go to a store and routinely see Switches. But right now, I don't see any consoles when I go to a store. It is impossible to find them, and a lot of stores don't sell them in the stores anymore. But yeah. Anyway, some other sales numbers that came out. Mario Kart is still the leading sales on the Switch, 33.4 million. To put that in perspective, 14 Wii U's were sold. So Mario Kart, which originally came out on the Wii U, has sold more than double the number of Wii U consoles that were sold. That is insanity. Animal Crossing, 31 million, which is insane because this was not a AAA title for Nintendo. I'm a little surprised Mario Kart's still ahead. I'm not super surprised, but Mario Kart's still ahead. I think Mario Kart's going to retain that lead because I think for a while people were buying Switches for Animal Crossing, and now that Animal Crossing's a year in, I can tell you when people buy a Switch, a lot of people buy Mario Kart with it, obviously.
So do
yeah.
you think with that Animal Crossing number that now we see a new Animal Crossing game within the next, I don't know, 24 months, maybe 36?
I don't think we'll see another Animal Crossing on Switch. It doesn't make sense. Because what are you going to have? Like 2 different islands on one console? It doesn't make any sense.
I think it's just a whole new brand. You get away from the island life and it's something different.
Yeah, I just don't see it. I don't see having 2 existences on one console.
I don't disagree, but do you ride the bandwagon?
I think you plan out, like I said,
because let's be honest, if even 50% of the people bought the sequel, that's a success.
Sure. But
I mean, even if a third of the people bought it,
save it for the next console. You could even make it I think Nintendo has learned you need a launch title. I mean, look at the PS5 and the Xbox. They don't really have good launch lineups. Breath of the Wild was, I think, changed Nintendo forever. So how about Animal Crossing as a launch title on the next console, whatever it is? Pretty cool. Yeah. 33 million for Mario Kart, 31 for Animal Crossing. And the next 2 are Smash at 22 million and Breath of the Wild at 21. Actually, a little surprised. Breath of the Wild is really hanging in there. I think a lot of people think of Legend of Zelda as a big title, but it doesn't usually sell better than Mario. And Mario Odyssey, is lagging behind Breath of the Wild. So, really interesting number. They're just selling like crazy. I really want to see Switch become the highest selling console. Now you realize the Nintendo DS is the second highest selling console of all time, like 152 million. Let me look at my list here. I have it right here. 154 million. If it came in like a few million shy of the PlayStation 2. Again, a lot of times these are not fair. The Nintendo DS had like a million different models, and it was a fairly cheap portable device.
True.
However, the PlayStation 2 was a DVD player that failed a lot. So a lot of people bought a lot of PlayStations 2. Even today, you cannot find a working PlayStation 2. It is super hard to find one that has a working laser. So I think their sales are skewed as well. And they were competing against nothing. PlayStation 2 like destroyed GameCube and all that. So Yeah, I think in about a year we're going to be talking about the Switch really nipping on the heels of records. So it's exciting.
And number 1.
We're going to have some fun with this one. This was a question sent in by Chris HL94. But we're going to change up the question a little bit. But let me read what he wrote here. He said, with the recent release of the Monster Hunter film, what is the best and worst film based on a video game? And then follow up, what is the best and worst video game adapted from a film?
Going both ways.
So it does go both ways. So I think this should be an open conversation. We can talk about some. So I'm going to talk about, let's start with the best movie that came out of a video game.
I'm
going to say there's one answer.
What is it?
So the best movie that then became a video game. So this was a movie first, and then it became a video game.
Oh, okay.
Let's start there. There's one answer. It's 100% 007 GoldenEye. Hands down.
Probably.
I mean, that game is obviously known as one of the best shooters of all time. It's pretty accurate to the movie in a weird way. I think this was one of those things. I played the shit out of the video game, and then I wanted to watch the movie because I was younger. And it's fantastic. I mean, I think it's spot on.
I don't know in this category.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, I always like rag on the fact that these games based on movies, they always end up terrible because usually they come out in timing with the movie and they're rushed. They're based on like maybe there was another game that they were making and then they kind of retrofit it in or whatever. But one game that gets universally panned, which I actually really enjoy for some reason, is Back to the Future on NES. I mean, by every standard, it's a shitty game. AVGN has ragged on it, and the music is repetitive and all that. I just love playing it for some reason. I didn't even have it as a kid. I just like playing it. I don't know what it is. But there's not a lot of movie-based games that I really like. It's not even very many come to mind. It's
you think about all the NES games. They took advantage of those IPs and they made so many.
Yep.
Let's go to the other end of the spectrum here. What was the worst movie to game, right? So this was, of course, it was a movie, became a video game, and the game sucks. All right. I want you to clear your brain for a second. So I'm about to blow your mind.
Let's hear it.
There was an arcade video game called Street Fighter the movie. So it was called Street Fighter the movie, the game.
Yeah.
So this was a Street Fighter video game based off the movie that sucked. So it's a video game that turned into a movie that then the movie turned into the video game. Mind blowing stuff.
It's mind blowing because the movie was terrible,
and then the game
was amazing, and then they made the movie based game,
which
and
was
it's
terrible.
Like, why would you do that? Like. Like, it doesn't make any sense. That's like having Super Mario Brothers, and then you make this shitty movie, and then you make Super Mario the movie, the game. Like, no, just make Mario.
Imagine if they made a Mario based off that movie with like the weird looking Goombas and the.
Yeah. I mean, just terrible. For me, it's Friday the 13th on the NES.
That one's not good.
It made a valiant attempt. They couldn't even get the color right on Jason, and you're trying to make it for a system that's largely going to be kid friendly, but the game never made any sense. It was just total moon logic, and you didn't really have an online infrastructure to inform you like what to do. Whereas today, maybe that would have helped. It was just an awful game for a cool little horror series. And there was a million games on NES, Super Nintendo.
Like Jaws. I love Jaws, but it was terrible.
I actually, I agree with you. I actually like Jaws.
It's not good.
But it is a terrible game. I mean, it's just, whatever. Now, but like modern stuff is interesting because we've seen some games based on movies, and there's some varying degrees of success. You don't get the shitty stuff that you did in the earlier generations, but like for a while you get all like the Harry Potter video games and whatever, and they still had this blandish a blandish feel. I'll just put it that way. Sometimes the more successful games are the ones that come out like years later after the movie. And that's when they started working on it and put some effort into it.
Oh yeah. So let's do some of the best video games that get converted into a movie. We're just talking about any type of movies that are based off video games. This one here, a lot of people hate it, but for some reason I kind of enjoyed it. Did you ever see Warcraft?
I have not.
You know what, John? That is a perfect movie to watch this week while you're working at home.
Oh God!
It's like a work at home movie. It's not
based on World of Warcraft or the Warcraft games.
World of Warcraft.
Oh, it is. Okay, all right.
But it's I kind of enjoyed it. I don't know. Give it a shot. I'd be interested to see what your take is on it.
You played World of Warcraft.
I did play World of Warcraft.
Okay. I have. I've never played it, but
I mean, I probably put maybe, I don't know. I didn't not thousands of hours into it. Maybe a couple hundred, which is really nothing for an MMO.
And I did love the Warcraft games, like the time. But yeah, I didn't have any interest in this one. Maybe someday I'll watch it for a goof.
Also, did you ever see Pixels with Adam Sandler, Kevin James?
Used to watch. No, I'm not watching that garbage.
What? Why? It was fun. I
used to love Adam Sandler, and now I can't stand anything he does. Yeah.
What about you? What's the best game to movie?
So I think a lot of the older movies suffered from the fact that you're trying to copy a video game, but they didn't have CGI, capabilities. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, because everyone always jokes and says there's no good video game movies. Nowadays, we're seeing much better video game movies because they can just cover things in CGI. And we were just talking earlier about Mortal Kombat. Yep. Like everyone's really excited about the Mortal Kombat movie because the CGI can cover up the kind of the shitty story that we're probably going to get. I would have said Mortal Kombat, the original one, because
Annihilation, or is that the other one?
No, the original movie.
I thought the original one was better than the second one.
I didn't even see the second one because the original movie had Bridget Wilson as Sonya, and she's my childhood crush. She's the one who was in Billy Madison. And then they replaced her. She didn't do Annihilation, so I didn't watch it. But that would have been that's my little kid pleasure, and I think a lot of that comes from the fact that Immortals CD with the Mortal Kombat soundtrack came out.
Oh, okay.
And that was just awesome. Like, I love the Mortal Kombat soundtrack. Everyone knows it. That's where you hear Mortal Kombat and all that stuff. But now I would say the best. Before I say it, I'll say the best video game themed movie of all time is Scott Pilgrim. Love Scott Pilgrim movie.
That's okay. They're going with the wizard.
Yeah, no. But the best movie based on a video game right now, to me, is Detective Pikachu. That's my favorite.
That was a good movie. I really did enjoy that.
I enjoyed that one. I didn't like the game, but the movie does follow the story of the game fairly decently, but it's really about loving Pokemon.
Yeah, and I'm not a big Pokemon guy, and I thought it was a fantastic film. I agree. What's your take as reading both books, Ready Player One? Now, before you say this, answer the question. Put the book aside for a second, right? Because I know books are always a little bit more detailed and better. What's your take on Ready Player One as just a standalone film?
Oh, it's top 10 all time.
Really? Yeah, I loved it. I thought that was really good, especially adaptation from the book. But
the thing that really excited me about the Ready Player One movie is that, when you watch a movie based on a book and you get pissed off because it didn't follow the book.
Yep.
And you're just like, oh, it wasn't like the book. This was the first movie where I read the book, and in a lot of places it deviated from the book, but it did it in a way that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially like the Shining scene.
Yes.
It was like, oh, okay, it didn't do some of my favorite parts of the book, like when he's copying Monty Python and all that stuff. But I understand that you can't do that in a movie. And so I get it. And so I actually love the book and love the movie, even though there's differences between them.
Do you think they'll do a second movie?
I hope not. I don't think the second book was as good.
I don't think it converts it to a film as well.
I would love to just see it stay at the one. I don't want to see. I don't want to see it, but I think if you are a gamer, or especially a retro gamer, you have to see Ready Player One. It's just essential. Yeah. If you grew up in the 80s, you have to see Ready Player One, and you have to read it. But yeah,
Great.
that's a great. You're right. I think Ready Player One actually might. I know when I did a top 10 of my favorite movies like not too long ago, and I had Scott Pilgrim and Ready Player One on it. I can't remember the order. I'd probably say Scott Pilgrim is more enjoyable as a film because it's more grounded in the real world.
Mhm.
But yeah, those two are both the best video game themed movies.
I
They're just
agree.
not really based
They're up
on
there.
a game.
True.
Yeah.
Any other movies or anything like that?
I will say the Super Mario Brothers movie, I watched that one for the first time a couple years ago, and it's not as awful as it's made out to be. I know the creation process for it was terrible, and the actors hated it and all that stuff. But I think like years and years and years of hearing how terrible that movie is, and then watching it, I'm like, I mean, no, it's not a good movie, but I've seen worse video game movies. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, fair.
And like I said, and also The Wizard. I actually kind of enjoyed The Wizard.
Wizard's fine. It's harmless. I agree.
Yeah, it's not a terrible movie. It's not a great movie, but I enjoyed it. And like a lot of the recent movies we're seeing now, I think Sonic is sort of the standard bearer of Sonic's going to be like Mortal Kombat. You're going to go watch it and go, I had a good time, but the movie does nothing for you. It doesn't. There's nothing there. It's so predictable.
My kids love Sonic.
Yeah,
the movie. They loved it.
It's because it's got that stupid, funny stuff, and the jokes don't make sense. The way he stops time is like totally bizarro. But it's not a bad movie. You can sit there and at least feel like I laughed, and that sort of thing. Whereas older video game movies you'd watch and be like, this is awful. What is this? This is terrible. So I think the CGI is going to save a lot of these movies. Did you ever see the Tomb Raider movie with Angelina Jolie?
Yeah.
That was a good example of a movie that it wasn't awful. It was fine. You know, we're just seeing a lot of that sort of like middle of the road video game movies. Not bad, but not good. I do want to see. I haven't seen the newer Tomb Raider. I want to see that one.
No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah. What else? There's so many of them. I think Street Fighter is probably going to be the worst movie based on a video game, but I still haven't seen it yet. I want to see it. The first time I can watch it conveniently, I'm going to watch it. I've heard it was terrible. It looks terrible. I'm just in the mood to watch some bad video game movies now.
Well, you did all week.
Where is it? Somebody tell me where it is.
Yeah, I just struggle to find it, but all
I'm
right.
not going to pay to rent it. I'm not paying to rent it.
I don't. You can't nowadays. There's too many other movies to watch. But all right, that's gonna wrap up our top 10. John, before we sign off here, what do we have happening over the next couple of weeks?
I know you're looking for a game. There's a bunch of games coming out. We are now in that mid-February territory we talked about, where a bunch of stuff is coming out. We got Mario 3D World. We're gonna see Thomas Was Alone. This is not a big title. But this was a good little indie title from the Wii U era. That comes out February 19th. Kind of an interesting take on just platforming. It's worth it, I think, cheap. Persona 5 Strikers comes out February 23rd. That's the one we talked about, where you can get it for 4 days early if you pay $10. Taxi Chaos also comes out. This is an interesting one. This is clearly a ripoff of Crazy Taxi. We've been clamoring for a new Crazy Taxi game for forever, and some company decided to make a total ripoff of it. I got my eye on this one. I love Crazy Taxi.
It's fun. That's a fun game.
So I'm curious. I'll be looking for reviews on this one. That's coming out February 23rd.
Oh, that should be one I should jump on.
And Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection comes out February 25th.
I want to play this, but ever since we played it in Monthly Mayhem, maybe a year ago, it did kind of break me.
Yeah. This would be a great Mayhem game, though, because it's going to have more modern features. I'm hoping some achievements, that sort of thing. But that's going to be an interesting one. I think a lot of people in our community are going to get that one. If there wasn't so much coming out, I probably would too. But down the road, I'm going to look for a sale. And the big one is Bravely Default 2. That comes out February 26th. I am super excited for this one. I loved the first game. And I loved the second game. I don't know why they're calling this one 2, but I love the first game. The second game was called Bravely Second, and it was a continuation of that story. And now Bravely Default 2 is not a continuation of the first story. So it's kind of like, when they made like Final Fantasy 13 Part 2. This is like a different story, which is really good because if you haven't played Bravely Default before, you can jump in here and you're on the Switch. Game looks super sexy, so yeah, I'm super excited for it. Are you going to play Bravely Default 2, or you're not interested in that?
No, I'm not. I don't think so.
I love that old school turn-based combat.
Yeah, I don't mind it, but we'll see. Probably not.
By the way, this is another demo I didn't like. I think I mentioned it before, but
you did.
They throw you in the middle of the game, and I just didn't like it. So, yeah, start me in the beginning, please.
I'll have to keep searching for a game. We'll see. Catchy Chaos has my eyes though as well.
Nice.
All right, is that it, John? That's all I got.
That's all I got.
All right, Sadie, take us home.
The Dads After Dark show is a part of the Nintendo Dads family of podcasts. You can subscribe to us anywhere podcasts are available, including iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, and Stitcher. Be sure to join us on the Nintendo Dads Discord in the Dads After Dark show channel for some naughty After Dark talk. Follow us on Twitter @NDadsAfterDark. Ask us a question, and we may answer it on the show. That's all for tonight. Good night, Dads. Sweet dreams.